Hello and welcome back to the Spin the Rock podcast. I am your host Angel, and with me today are my co-hosts.
Eugene?
And Vaughn.
All right, Olympics gold medal game right around the corner. But first, we got some catching up to do because a lot has went down since we last talked about um the Olympic basketball, like just schedule and tournament in general. First of all, how much have you guys been watching, and what do you think so far?
Well, this was unfortunately for me the only game that I missed. So I got to watch the highlights, but I heard it was a good game, great comeback. And we're going to win gold against France, so I ain't worried.
I thankfully caught this entire game. Um, Warriors fans, those of you who have been saying Steph Curry has been saving Steve Kerr's job are like completely right. That man's lineups are so atrocious. It's like he's trying to lose us the game, and especially against Serbia, that that wasn't gonna fly, and it's why we almost lost that game if it weren't for the heroics of one Steph Curry and the basketball mind of LeBron. Because they really saved us there. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I rewatched it because Twitter was like going crazy about it because of one, the Curry performance, two, Jokic basically about to cement himself as an all timer, like literally so close to doing so, and then three, like Vaughn said, Steve Kerr just trying his hardest to lose his job and just trying to figure out like what can I get away with before they fire me. That's basically what he's doing, bro. And I'm fully bought into the theory because there was a theory going around, right? I think it was like memes, and it was basically like they stopped listening to Steve Kerr and just started playing AAU ball, and that they started listening to Melo instead, who was like on the sideline. And at first I was like, "LO, that's funny," but then when I rewatched it, bro, I'm sorry, bro. I'm fully bought into this. They dead ass were listening to Melo. There's no way they weren't, bro. This man was saying shit and shit would happen. This man would make signals and then a play would happen. They were full on like they were not listening to Steve Kerr at all, bro. The entire like 2 minutes left, they were like, bro, why are we running these plays? We have the three greatest scorers on our team just start playing AAU ball, and they won with that.
I
That's
mean, I
that's a
can believe it.
strong theory. Yeah.
Right. I can believe it because, there's no reason you should be scoring 40 in an Olympic game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So with Curry doing that, it's kind of like, well, there's no way they were running plays because essentially he was carrying the team. What was the final score for that game?
Uh 95-91.
He basically had half the team's points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like when you put that into perspective, it was just feed the hot man. And then
No, for
everyone
real.
else will fill in the gaps. But yeah, I mean, I presume it was a pretty good game. Y'all talked highly of it. I definitely gotta tune in for the gold medal match.
You also got to wonder why Bogdanovich was hitting the three to the dome celly right in front of Carmelo. Why else if Carmelo was not involved on the sideline somehow? It just would make no sense.
Right.
No, for real.
Well, actually, I do think I think I saw something earlier today actually where Bogdanovich, I think this was before he even hit the league, played against Melo whenever Melo's last Olympic run was. But I think he played against him, and people remember everything. So
Yeah. I also want to bring up the disappointing Canada run. There should be no reason why Canada is just constantly just a disappointing international team, bro. They low-key have hoopers, and it's almost kind of sad to see how often they do poorly in international events.
right. I won't even say low key, it's high key because they got Jamal Murray, uh SGA, Lou Dort, what's his name? Dylan Brooks, Nemhard. I
Yeah,
think they got Nikhil
Barrett. Oh,
Alexander Walker. Yeah,
you're a
RJ
Barrett hater.
Barrett. Like, but even still, like, you know, the list goes on and on. Like, they got a full roster, so it's like, why are they doing so bad? You know?
Mhm.
They lost to France, right?
Yeah, without
Which,
Gobert too.
yeah. And this is a team that almost lost to Japan and honestly should have lost to Japan based off. I don't know if you've seen that ticky tack foul at the end, which got them to overtime to win the game eventually. But Japan was this close to winning that. And for Canada to basically get rolled by France, right, it's like, where's the hope there?
Mm.
Oh, for real. And then, yeah, of course, we got to talk about Gobert not playing. Um, I don't know why this was such a big deal. I think it's literally because it's Gobert and people hate him. But like the amount of times I saw that he didn't play on my feed is actually outrageous. And then Draymond Green going on and on about how Gobert's a fraud on his podcast while he hasn't been on an Olympic basketball team in God knows how long is actually insane, bro. All right. Any other things you want to talk about Olympic wise? Bronze medal game is tomorrow or the 10th, and the gold medal game is gonna be 3:30 Eastern time, the 10th.
Who's in the bronze medal?
Germany and Serbia.
Germany and Serbia. That should be a good game, though. I'm not gonna lie. Germany got some hoopers, and then obviously Serbia. That should be a good game.
Yeah, that should be good. I'm pretty sure Serbia's gonna win that shit though,
Mm-hmm.
because they low key they're a solid team, bro. I think people need to. It's not. I know people keep saying it's like Jokic's team, which it is, but like, bro, they won FIBA too, didn't they?
I think they did at one point.
So like,
They
I think they're a solid team. They're probably like the new Spain, because Spain was like our rival for the longest time.
Yeah, that's true.
It's also like such a well-made team for Jokic specifically because there's so many shooters there,
Mhm.
and they got some really good defenders. Like I was in the Team USA game, it felt like no one was getting to the paint.
Yeah.
Like no one could get drive-bys. So uh, maybe a lock for bronze for Serbia here.
Who's winning gold?
Oh come on, who's winning gold? It's gotta be USA. France don't matter if they got home court advantage. It's they can enjoy their silver.
It's gonna
Alright.
be that game environment though is gonna be insane though, because the France fans just in every event, because I've been watching a lot of events, have popped out, you know, to all the medal events, whether that's bronze, silver, or gold, you know. So I can only imagine, you know, with basketball being one of the top, better, one of the more entertaining sports of the Olympics, I can only imagine that environment and being inside wherever
Yeah.
they play.
I'm hyped because it's on a day where I can actually watch it at a time that I don't have to wake up. Like it's just gonna be on at like 1:30 my time. So
Mhm.
like I'm hyped. All right, moving on. We'll talk about the Lori marketing deal, 5 year, 230, right? 39, something like that.
Let me see. 5 years, 230 mil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, Jazz locked them up. I think Vaughn also said that this means he can't get traded next season. So, what do you guys feel? How do you feel about this? Do you think Jazz are officially starting to go after some winning, or do you think they're still in rebuild mode and just want to lock up the guy for a little bit longer?
I think it's definitely that. I think
Yeah.
like there's no indication that the Jazz are going to be more competitive next season because I don't think they added pieces that will accomplish that. I mean, they drafted well, so it seems, but like it's Danny Ainge. She's probably thinking far into the future, and that probably means trading Laurie, not next season, but the season after. So at least that would be my expectation.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't see them trading Laurie anytime soon. I think they're going to try and build around him for the next at least 5 years. And then whatever comes out of that 5 years, they'll either stay longer or, you know, leave for, either more money or in hopes of getting a ring, you know. But I think it's a good move for Lauri's career right now. Although it is kind of unfortunate that the Cavs are a better team, you know. So, but I think for where he is at right now, I think it's pretty good, and at least his career will only progress, you know, being the star player.
Oh, it's doubly crazy because on the Bulls, he was like a good prospect at first, and then it looked like his career was shifting another way. He gets traded to the Cavs, and he's kind of an afterthought in the Cavs.
Mm.
And by the time he gets to the Jazz, it's kind of thought as like a dumping ground for him. But then he just flourished and became this max player out of nowhere. So that would be crazy. But if he does get traded 2 years from now, the Spurs might have to give him a call. You know, they might need that man. Team him up next to Wemby.
That'd be scary. Yeah.
I think this can go either like two ways. Either they're gonna build upon this and we're gonna start seeing Jazz in the playoffs again, or they're gonna trade him away and it's gonna be like, when is the Jazz gonna be done rebuilding? It's like it's been a fat minute now since they started the rebuild. And like, you know, they can't all be the Thunder or Minnesota where like, you know, they like kind of rebuild super quickly and then all of a sudden they're like playoff contenders frequently.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost like the Jazz have been doing it just as long, but they're like still like they're taking their time with it. And if they trade him right 2 years from now, it's kind of like, why would you sign that 5-year max just to like trade him away for, let's be honest, a couple draft picks and like 2 like starters? Like
Right.
So
yeah, I never understand why teams do that, you know. But I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure the Jazz have a plan because, you know, it's Danny Ainge. This man is literally a basketball genius. Like, I don't doubt that the Jazz are gonna do something. Definitely not this year, but in the future, before he's gone, I can see them being a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
It's just more so how soon that is, and then or if it's gonna be like a team who just constantly gets eliminated in the play-ins, like the Hawks. And then lastly, Eugene has a Christmas Day schedule for us, which if you know NBA Christmas Day, and it's an exciting day, and we have high expectations. We've ripped into Christmas Day schedules before. I think last year we hated the last year one, so hopefully it's better this year. What do you have for us, Eugene?
Well, I have unfortunate news for you, Angel.
Oh no.
It's not very good. It's pretty much a copy and paste of previous years, aside from one game. But let's see, who should I start with? Okay. So we have the Timberwolves at Mavericks. I think will probably be a solid game. Probably the best game out of the 5. And then we have Sixers at Celtics, which will probably be another entertaining game. We have the Spurs at MSG against the Knicks.
Whoa.
Which is interesting that the Spurs are even getting an opportunity on Christmas Day.
Well, you know why, bro.
Well, yeah, but still. And then we have Nuggets at Suns and then Lakers at Warriors.
They really love that Nuggets Suns matchup, bro.
And the Lakers Warriors, bro. I have no idea why. I saw it. Me personally, I hated it. I'm kind of living for that the Wolves Mavericks game because, you know, those are two hungry teams trying to get at each other, you know?
Yeah.
And especially with that Klay Thompson addition as well for the Mavs.
I'm just looking at Spurs Knicks and like Wemby aside, this is going to be a high playoff team in the East versus a team struggling to get play-in at best.
Yeah.
On Christmas Day of all things. But they got to get their ratings up, I guess.
And I don't even know if that's gonna get the ratings up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I'm confused by that, but I'm also confused on like why they keep doing Suns Nuggets. We've been doing the podcast. We covered 3 seasons so far, and 2 of those seasons had a Suns Nuggets Christmas Day game, and that's actually kind of insane. Especially because there's no way. My problem with Christmas Day games is like they try to capitalize off of like rivalries, but it's like there's no way that's gonna be another another easy Nuggets Christmas Day win.
But even still, like, there's no real rivalry there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like they
that's
don't.
also
There's no
true.
bad blood. There's no beef between any players. It's just like they're trying to force something that just is not happening.
Yeah, and also that's just like the Suns are going to be the same team.
Mhm.
I don't know. The only one I'm excited about, like you said, Eugene, Wolves, Mavericks is going to be good. Sixers and Celtics.
Sixers Celtics could actually really be good.
That should be good. Especially with like just like coming off of a ship, they like the Celtics always like are the reason why the Sixers leave the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be an exciting matchup,
And
an
then on
actual
top of that,
rivalry game.
yeah, and then on top of that, you have Paul George, you know, on the Sixers now as well
Yeah.
as a bunch of other people. But it's basically a new team, new founded Sixers team.
Mm.
So hopefully it's a good game.
That one could be the most festive if they lean into it. Red uniforms, green uniforms, fit the vibe.
That's very true.
All right. What are the chances that we see Christmas Day uniforms this year?
0, bro. This Nike term just does not want to have fun with these uniforms, man. I don't know why they haven't done it. They do their thing, I guess.
Hey, hoping for the best, preparing for the worst.
All right. Moving on to our hot seat. This year's hot seat question is: do you think that the NBA needs to revive rivalries? Right now, rivalries are becoming a big, big topic in sports again with the rise of soccer in America, college football having like rivalry week. I think also the NFL is starting to get back into trying to force rivalries. Do you think the NBA should get back on that bandwagon, or do you think they're just too slow to actually capitalize on rivalries?
I mean, like, I don't think the NBA should do it. You know what I mean? Just like I don't think the NFL should do it. But the NFL is a little bit different because, well, I mean, really all sports, because they lean into it more because they're all historic and, storied rivalries. So it's kind of like if the NBA were to do it now, maybe it might seem weird to us, but then later down the line, it might actually mean something. But I think it should just happen organically, whether that's between the players or the teams themselves. You know what I mean? But I feel like the NBA has been trying to force it, and it just doesn't lead from anything. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because it really shouldn't come down to NBA because whenever they try to push something, it's like Battle of New York, it's disappointing. Battle of LA, disappointing. I think even after Raptors won their chip, they started saying like Raptors Warriors, and that just really wasn't a thing in terms of rivalries. It's definitely just completely reliant on the players, but I think the one thing keeping that at bay is just the refs, like handing techs like candy, because it just really doesn't allow that to get past like maybe a push or a shove. Maybe there's like an interview where they talk shit, but like that's as far as it goes. It's not going past that. So
And
I
then
just don't think,
even with the interviews, they get fined for
yeah,
saying
basically.
specific things. So
it's just not. There's no bones there to allow that to even grow. So it shouldn't be like a goal of the NBA. I would say.
Mm, yeah. I think I agree with you guys. When they do try to force it themselves, never works out. We saw it with Mavs Suns like before, where like they really tried hard to push that Mavs Suns, and then the Mavs were like a disappointing team that year.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even make the playoffs, and then I just think I can't lie, as like a basketball fan, when I look over at other sports and seeing what they're doing with their rivalries, I do get a little jealous. Like when I saw the MLB like rivalry week like graphic, and how it's like for the 2025 season, I was like, damn, that's like I wish the NBA would do something like that. But then it's
Mm-hmm.
also like that's because the MLB lets it happen naturally, and there's like
Right.
years of those
Mm-hmm.
rivalries.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with the NBA, they try to force it down our throats so quickly that like it's almost they kill it themselves
Mm-hmm.
with like the Battle of LA. It's just like I don't know.
Like, I think what they could do is, kind of go back in time, since everyone like they know all the rivalries within the league or whatever.
Mhm.
I think what they could do, they could implement a rivalry week whenever they want. I would say pre All-Star break though. I think that would be most ideal. And then like, have like a Lakers Celtics game, whatever. Um, just have like the most known rivalries, and then from there, kind of like put the lesser known rivalries into that rivalry week as well, just to get
Yeah,
more exposure. And then from there, see what the ratings are, whatever. And then if teams and players start to get more rivalries, then they could try and push that. But they've been, I don't know, they just been flopping
yeah.
this whole
I
time.
I agree with that a lot because when I look at the MLB's one, because I'm using that one for example because that's the one I actually have knowledge about. I don't
Mhm,
know anything about college football, so I can't look at theirs and be like, "Oh yeah, that's a classic." You
mhm,
know. So with MLB, it's like Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, Braves. It's like rivalries. It's more so old rivalries, and I think I agree. They need to do like old ones because the NBA tries to force new ones all the time.
yeah.
But like a Lakers, Celtics, a Pistons, Bulls, just kind of revive those old ones.
Mhm.
Instead of just constantly being like Warriors, Grizzlies, all they hate each other because one round they got into a scuffle, you know, or like Suns, Mavs. Oh, Luca had some iconic quotes, so now this is a rivalry.
Right.
So it's just like kind of
I
just
was saying,
reviving old ones.
at least historically, like, who really wants to watch Bulls versus Detroit Pistons
That was just
today?
that was just an example.
like, like there are some ones like maybe just good matchup wise, like Knicks Heat could be
Mhm.
good, but I don't know how you're gonna like get this rivalry branding stick on that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like yeah, you have all this history like all these decades ago, but like, is it gonna amount to anything for this rivalry? I don't know, but it would be
yeah,
worth a try.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I think it's really hard with the NBA because I think social media is almost ingrained into our sport. And with that, like it's just like no, like Vaughn said, no one's gonna want to watch Bulls Pistons. So I think it just gotta happen naturally, which kind of sucks. But like, yeah, that's the only way it's gonna work with the NBA. They can't force it because it hasn't been working. All right, and now for our main topic. As you can see behind me, I am at Mount Rushmore. It's so nice here. Oh, I love it. It lives up to the hype. And with that in mind, as I was looking at these foreheads, I thought, shouldn't we do our own Mount Rushmore, but for every position? So today we're going from point guard to center and naming our point guard Rushmore, small forward Mount Rushmore. And these are players who aren't necessarily the greatest, aren't necessarily like, really, really like the best of the best, but influential. Changed that position, made that position different, and made the NBA work around how they played. So we're gonna start with the point guard because I feel like this one is probably a good one to set an example for the rest of the episode. So who wants to kick us off? I can go first. So my point guard Mount Rushmore is Magic, Curry, Chris Paul, and Jerry West.
Magic, Curry, Chris. You said Chris Paul
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Jerry West.
Yep.
See, the part of this, like, I agree with this list, but also, like, there's some guys that I'm like, if we don't mention them, it's kind of tough to consider this a true Mount Rushmore, like an Isaiah Thomas or like a Jason Kidd, a true point guard, you know?
Yeah, Jason Kidd, yeah.
Or even Kyrie, like the influence he's had on today's game. But it's tough to kick off any of those guys you listed. Like Chris Paul is the point guard. Steph Curry, 3-point game because of him. Magic Johnson, with what he's done and 5 rings with Kareem, really brought popularity to the sport of basketball. And then Jerry West is literally the logo. So like I can't kick any of those guys off. That's just
what makes it hard is it's almost like what we value. So like I value like actual like people who like just icons in that position, but like you said, like some people are like Jason Kidd, Jason Kidd or John Stockton, you know, like they value like aspects of that game. So it's just what you value on your Mount Rushmore.
Right. If I was to switch anyone off that list, it would have been Jerry West for Stockton, because you know he got some Wilt-esque records, you know.
Yeah.
So I probably would switch out John Stockton for Jerry West. Although, you know, the logo's the logo, but
What about you, Vaughn?
I agree with your list. Magic Johnson, Steph, Jerry West, Chris Paul. Jerry West versus John Stockton is a good argument to be made. But what has John Stockton done besides like get lots of assists? Oh, like that's
bro,
what
he changed the
game.
game. He changed the game and how people saw, you know, getting an assist. You know what I mean? Like getting assists is not just passing; it's finding your teammates. He was a true floor general. He told everyone where they were supposed to be. He knew where everyone was supposed to be, and if they weren't there, he found another option. Trust me, bro. Trust me.
Also, this man Jerry West is not just the face of like the logo or the point guard position early on, but such heavy influence over the Lakers dynasty with Magic and like the Clippers to an extent as well. Like whatever little success they've had is probably due to Jerry's influence. Just also being like a mentor behind the scenes, whereas not that John Stockton wasn't, but I just don't think he has that same grade of influence.
I think he does, but I think of I like passing. I've learned to like passing a lot more than I think most people. A lot of people don't take assists into account. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. John Stockton can kick rocks, bro.
My point exactly.
No, but in all seriousness, I also, don't get me wrong, that was the guy where I was like, I wish there was 5 heads, because like he would automatically be on there. But like Vaughn said, Jerry West had success as coach, player, manager. Whatever he did, he found success in. And like not only that, but like, bro, he got a ring in the Celtics dynasty era. When Bill Russell was like winning every year, he was able to sneak in there and get a ring. I just feel like that's like, I just feel like he's an impressive figure just to the sport in general. But like, yeah, John Stockton, like someone had to get, you know, shafted, and it just, for me, it was him, and for you, it was Jerry West. You know,
and even players, you know, like Steve Nash, left
Yeah.
off on there. Who else? Some people might even throw a Jason Williams up there. You know what I mean? In
Mhm.
terms of flashiness and how he played the game.
Yeah.
Brought a level of street ball to professional basketball. Maybe or maybe not Stephon Marbury about how you look at the game, but you know what I mean. There's a lot of point guards left off the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right. It's only going to get harder. Shooting guard.
I think I can take this one.
Okay.
I think. I mean, it's kind of a given, but you got Jordan, Kobe. I'm going to throw Dwayne Wade up there. And this might be a hot one, but Ray Allen up there.
Okay. I'm gonna say mine because ours is again super close, but I took off Wade and I put James Harden.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
okay.
interesting.
I had Kobe, Michael, D Wade, Allen Iverson.
Okay.
If there's
All
one I can't leave
completely.
off,
We all left off. So we all have Kobe, Jordan, and Allen. So let's talk about that before we talk about the fourth spot that we all have differently. Kobe and Jordan. Duh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like picturesque,
And
3-level scores.
but I want to hear why you guys said Ray Allen because I
No,
know why I said Ray Allen.
I said Allen Iverson.
Oh, well, who did you say? Oh, I'm sorry. Who I thought you
D
said
Wade.
D
D Wade
Wade.
and then Allen
Okay.
Iverson.
So why did you leave off Ray Allen? I just want to know. I'm not like attacking you.
Well, Iverson, okay.
Yeah.
Just even off the court presence, like all the shit with David Stern and all that, and all the influence that goes into like, I guess, fashion off the court.
Mm.
But bro, on the court, one of the most flourished games you can find to just if he was ever on a good team, like how different his career would be. But with
Yeah.
him without like the rings, to have this sort of influence still is just, I feel like that carries more weight than, although Ray Allen has all the jewelry, it just doesn't have the same presence as AI has.
Like his presence, yeah, because I can't think of another term, still holds true and will continue to hold true probably till the earth dies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
As far as the NBA goes, with ball handling on the court and then the style game off the court.
Yeah.
That was a really good one. I'm not gonna lie.
No, that's a really good one.
And although he was marked as a shooting guard, I still see him as a point guard given his height and how he played the game. But yeah, I can't knock you. You know what I mean?
No, for sure a good one. I think I have a hot take because Allen was my 5, Allen Iverson. D Wade was my 6. So even if if I didn't put Ray Allen or Harden on there, like D Wade still probably would have missed it for me. Just because I feel like D Wade didn't necessarily change anything. He was just a really, really good player. Whereas like Allen Iverson, Ray Allen, they Ray Allen is the reason why 3-point shooting, like Curry, like
right.
The way I see it is like Reggie Miller crawled, Ray Allen walked, and Curry ran. Like, and I just feel like you gotta give props to Ray Allen more so than Miller, just because he his 3-point shooting made it like crucial to win games for his teams. And then Allen Iverson, like Bon already said, went into it. And then the reason why I put Harden on there is because we have step backs, foul, free throw games and getting fouls called. That's a thing because of him. If it wasn't for James Harden, who knows how often we would see free throws in games. Eventually, I'm sure some player would have leaned into it more, but James Harden with a step back and just like, I don't know. I think he was a very influential player to modern day NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Also, considering D Wade, like you're talking about his influence in changing the game, like the foul where you kick your leg out and that's an offensive foul, that's because of D Wade.
Yeah.
Like that was his move for the longest time until they had to do something league wide to change that. So
yeah,
right, and they're still contemplating whether that's a foul or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
true.
And on top of that, like he brought a level of creativity to the game as well, that I admired anyway. You know, whether that was how he did a reverse layup or, you know, some crazy shot or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's ultimately why I chose D Wade. And then, I mean, all the points you hit on Ray Allen were mine as well. You know, he kind of modernized and made the 3-point line famous for what it was, especially, you know, after he saved LeBron. So
yeah, no, for sure. I get what you guys are saying. I just think in my head, if I was doing best, I would have put D Wade up there for sure.
Mhm.
But like, I don't know. I kind of want to give Harden his credit. I feel like we often forget how much he influenced that, like, the game just today, and he's only like he did it so recently too. You know.
Mhm.
So I mean, the infamous step back, like it still gets clowned on to this day. We saw memes where people would do a step back all the way to like they just keep going and going and going because people still call that a travel to this day. People still say a step back is a travel.
Right.
So I don't know. That's why I left Wade off. Who else did you guys consider though? This is probably the easiest one for me personally.
Well, I have to mention Vince Carter. That man was playing till his bones gave out, man. Like,
yeah, literally.
He was like 42 or something.
Yeah, he was like 40 plus.
Also, Tracy McGrady. I mean, had his career gone a more Kobe Bryant route, maybe we'd be talking about him more. But like even still, like his game was like you couldn't stop him in a lot of instances. Like it's injuries that really took him out.
Yeah. I mean, he was basically Kevin Durant before Kevin Durant. Just an offensive threat at all times.
Yeah, essentially. To a certain extent, I bet a lot of like kids would say this, but Klay Thompson, like scoring how many points he did with no dribbles.
Yeah.
Like that's
right.
That's historic.
Most points in a quarter.
Yeah.
And then him going back to back, you know, breaking records, threes in a game with Curry.
Yeah, true. No, I can definitely see Klay Thompson. All right, small forward.
I do not want this one first.
Oh, no.
Low-key, I don't either.
Okay,
this one's
I'll
a hard
kick it
one.
off then. I'll kick it off then. LeBron, Larry Bird. I know some people say he's a power forward, but I put KD, and then I put Dr. J, Julius Erving.
Okay, mine is similar. As I got LeBron, Larry Bird, Julius Erving, and then I have Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, that's a good one.
You might have to explain that one. I'm not gonna lie.
Since we're considering basketball as a whole, I think he starts Syracuse run, historic run. All right.
Mm-hmm. As a freshman,
obviously, yeah, as
Yeah.
a freshman. Obviously, he had his term on the Nuggets, where like he goes to the Western Conference Finals, which like for a guy as young as he was, he had like super high expectations after that. Obviously, you have the Knicks, the 60 in MSG, but the most important part here is Team USA, Melo, because if it weren't for the longevity of both LeBron and KD, he'd probably be the goated Team USA player. Because Curry's recent game against Serbia is the highest most points scored since Melo did it. And this man Melo was, if you consider like a number one option for a Team USA team, he was probably the safest number one option because you got LeBron playmaking. You got all these other players supporting cast, whether it be shooting, defense, whatever. But if you want a bucket, you give it to Melo. And
Right,
that's
and he
kind
was
of how it
consistent.
was. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's kind of why I would put him up there on that Mount Rushmore. Plus, he's one of my favorite players. I won't lie. I'm kind of biased.
He said, "I hate the Knicks, but." And then, who did you say, Angel?
I said KD. I had the exact same, but I replaced Melo with KD.
Okay, yeah. I don't think KD's power forward in any word or in any world. So I'm gonna say LeBron, KD, Bird, and then I'm gonna have a different fourth one and say Scottie Pippen.
Okay. So
Only because I think he, along with someone else I'm gonna mention later, kind of changed how people look at defense and being played. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
They like a lot more people and players took pride in their defense because I think he was one of the pioneers, to help start that or whatever.
Also, one of the first two-way guys too. Like,
Yeah, that's true. Because also when Jordan retired, he was kind of that main option.
yeah. So I guess no, because all of my guys hit everyone's list. So I'm the only one who hasn't had like a guy said so far. You just defend. I really like the Melo idea. I
That
wanted
was
to
that
put
was a good one.
I wanted to put Melo up there because like for the longest time he had more success than like LeBron, bro.
Mhm.
For a fat minute. But like I didn't put him up there for one reason only. That's because he was a bag chaser. Like if it wasn't for the fact that he was a bag chaser, he would low key like be an all timer, like way more than he already is.
Mhm.
He would have probably at least a ring, like just one at least.
Mhm.
Because one of the things was that he was going to go to the Heat, but then he re-signed with the Knicks because they gave him a fat contract.
But
So
okay, I know what you're saying. But if he had signed with the, I think I would hate him. I think I would hate his.
true. I could see that too. People would hate his guts, but you never know. But yeah, I really like the Melo pick because I just like the Syracuse run. Like he's like more than just NBA. He's just basketball in general. Like Syracuse to this day is still known more just because of Melo. Like
Right. Nah, literally.
like I can't imagine where they would be if Melo never did that, bro. Like let's be honest. Um Dr. J, we both had him on there. This man was like your player's favorite player. Like he same thing with West. He got a ring during that era where it was like the same teams over and over again. Like he was just like a fun player to watch, and he's also just like he changed the game in just terms of like how athletic he was and just like the things he was like the first like real flashy player.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's why I put him on there. Bird and Braun, duh.
Mhm.
Bird and
And
then
not even to mention with Dr. J though, like he like basically created the dunk. I know players were dunking, in that same era
mhm,
and even before him, but like he was the really first one to be doing like flashy dunks, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So yeah, he helped modernize that as well.
no, for sure. For sure. And then KD, I want to hear why you put KD on there, Eugene, because I've been yapping.
I mean, sure, he could be power forward in some lineups, but he's always been a true small forward. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? He's always been tall, skinny, doesn't like to even be considered as a power forward or center despite being 7'11". But
Also
um
lying about his height constantly.
right, like no, I'm 6'9", but like no, bro, you're not. You're taller than LeBron, bro. Like um and also like he doesn't play like a power forward is supposed to play
Mhm.
either. You know, like he specializes in 3-level scoring, whether that's a layup or 3-point shooting or mid range. He takes pride in his mid range shot. Meanwhile, you know, power forwards kind of typically live in the paint.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm sure we said the same reason. You know, he's a bigger player that's able to shoot. You know, so that's why we put him up there.
Yeah.
You know, on our list. But yeah, I don't really see him. I never really saw him as a power forward.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't even think it's a debate either. It's
Right.
just people see him listed as a power forward and they just accept it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, he's not a power forward.
Like if he's playing power forward, it's out of necessity because they don't have anyone taller to play that position. I.e.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Phoenix Suns, right? So
Yeah.
And like he can play defense, but not the way he's supposed to at a power forward position. You know
Yeah.
what
No,
I
he
mean?
plays defense like a guard, low key.
Yeah.
Maybe if he ever wins a ring on his own merits, rather than joining a team that was historically good, I could put him on that Mount Rushmore.
Mhm.
Every time we see him lead a team, he's phenomenal, but the teams never are.
Mhm.
So there's still hope for him, especially like his play style doesn't really seem to fade away. He's just so
Yeah.
good technically. Like there's not
Yeah.
like athleticism, yeah, but like he just got the gift.
No, for sure. Yeah. No, the small forward one, I like this so far. I like how we keep having just like small differences. All right, power forward, underrated position, low key.
I think low key, I think this is the hardest one. I'm not gonna lie. I'll go
It
first
is.
though. I'll go first.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put Tim Duncan up there. I'm gonna put Dirk up there. This one might be super hot, but I'm gonna go Karl Malone up there. We're talking about on the court only. On the court only. On the court only. And then I'm gonna go Dennis Rodman.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Mine is so similar, except I took off Malone. I put Kevin Garnett.
Okay. I went Tim Duncan, Dirk, Dennis Rodman, and then Charles Barkley.
Okay.
I
Okay, see-
wanted Kevin Garnett, but I got justifications here. I gotta state.
I was gonna put Garnett and Barkley, but at least for me, I think there was really no one stepping up. He was basically like stepping up with Karl Malone. He was essentially the Shaq of his era at his position. You know what I mean? And with someone like John Stockton, going back to John Stockton, on that team, John was able to find him literally wherever, and then he'd be able to put the ball in the basket. That's why they're, one of the more successful duos, ever to grace the league. The only thing stopping them was Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. You know what I mean? So if it wasn't for the Bulls, they would be a lot more successful, more than they were during that time period. But I think, Karl Malone, just his play style alone kind of changed in how people saw the power forward position.
Yeah. I left him off mostly because I really wanted Kevin Garnett on there.
Mm-hmm.
Just because like this man, we did an episode in the past where we talked about like players who like just changed like the game in general, but like a high school player who succeeded for the first time in a long time. When he got drafted, high school players were starting to like be busts 90% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
His contract was so big it shut down the league.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but like just like the way he played in general, he was, you would want to see Kevin Garnett, bro. Like Kevin Garnett was literally like a spectacle because he
Right.
was kind of like if Rodman could score.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that's why I had Dennis Rodman on there, is because he was one of the only players to like not have to score and still be a great player
On every team, literally on
Yeah,
every team he played
on
for.
every team, because he was just able to do everything. But Kevin Garnett was that, but he could also score 20 while
Right.
So that's why I had him on there over Malone. But like, besides the fact of the off court stuff, you gotta give respect to the fact that he was number 3 on the all time scoring list.
Yeah.
No.
Like I was gonna say, or like kind of compare KG to basically the Kobe of his position, like
Yeah.
he had that Mamba mentality. Essentially, he could
Mhm.
get a buck whenever you asked him to get one.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, could play really good defense. And then on top of that, an amazing trash talker,
Yeah.
So
Plus all
yeah.
the intangibles, the rebounds.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let alone like, bro, like, what Karl Malone did in 13 minutes. Go look up Karl Malone 13, to see what Kevin Garnett still outshines that. And then Vaughn, of course, you had Charles Barkley.
Yeah, like obviously he's got his career, but the man was like 6'6". He was like maybe small forward, even shooting guard height,
Yeah.
getting rebounds like crazy, scoring in the paint like a beast.
Mm.
It was enough to give him an MVP, a finals appearance. Of course, Michael Jordan's there to stop him from getting that ring. But even beyond like playing basketball, he's like a face of sports media.
Yeah.
So I couldn't leave that off. Like him retiring is such a gut punch to basketball coverage. Like 2 years from now, when we got no more Charles Barkley, it's gonna feel really empty. I feel.
Right.
Plus, like taking it literally, you got like 4 figureheads on the mountain. I don't think I want Karl Malone up there.
No, because I was gonna say Charles Barkley too, but yeah, I can't disagree with anything you're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was also a hustle player too. Not many
Yeah.
people take hustle into account because it's an intangible. It's not shown on the stat sheet, and that's
Yeah.
something you need on every team. So
He also just like, bro, he was also just like the first big Suns guy too, bro.
yeah, that's true.
So like that's also it. The only bad thing you can say about Barkley is his nickname, and that's not even his fault. Like that's literally the only negative to Barkley. Because like you said, like it's like Shaq's media personality. It's just Shaq being Shaq.
Yeah.
But like Charles Barkley is like a media personality who also knows the game of basketball too, bro. Like he is so smart. And when he's actually talking about like basketball and not just like being a personality, you're like, you don't realize like, okay, like he knows what he's talking about. And like, yeah, like Vaughn said, like it's hard to ignore that, like how he's basically one of the faces of sports like media. Like I know people who know like NBA on TNT who don't even really watch basketball. So that's a really good one.
And then I had Tim Duncan and Dirk. I feel like the fact that we didn't really have to say much about them already speaks volumes.
Yeah, like we got Mr. Fundamentals and one of the most unstoppable shots ever. You know what I mean?
Literally carried a team to a ring.
Yeah.
Right. Like the first of his kind, really. Like a 7-foot shooting big, and then from Europe was another thing. Like they weren't really big on Europeans since I don't know. I don't even know when.
It might have been Vladi.
Yeah. And then obviously Tim Duncan, 5 rings is crazy, but it was just like you knew how he was going to score on you, and he would just do it. Like you just couldn't fight against that. Like, the most simplest of moves was killing you down low.
No, I mean, yeah, they're like probably for me at least the only European player on any of like just in general. And then like Tim Duncan, he's also just like got away with this like he's the only player I know who doesn't like on my list who doesn't have some sort of influence outside the game. Because Tim Duncan, all he really did was play ball, retired, disappeared. Like,
Yeah.
but we still talk about him because of how good he was, bro. Everyone else had some form of like personality, some form of influence out off of the court as well. But no, bro. He got his 5 rings. He changed the game. Did the most simplest things ever. Literally, bank shot was his special move, and he's still an all-time great.
Yep.
Like, you gotta give it up to him, bro. Put Spurs on the map, bro. Like, yeah, it's hard to. Is there anyone else you wanted to put on there that you left off?
You guys already covered or selected the ones I would have had I not.
Yeah, same here.
But I think someone who could make a case for this in the future, not now, but in the future, could be Giannis.
Yeah.
It's too early to say.
Yeah.
Especially considering guys play a lot longer nowadays than they ever have before. So we could be sitting here for a while, and he could be accumulating records or rings or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, influentially, I don't know. Maybe like a Chris Webber. You know, he kind of brought swagger to the game, but like, you know, on the court necessarily, you know, didn't really do much to change the game. Maybe Pau Gasol, you know, one of the first actual passing big men. You know, he actually took pride in passing as a big man. You know, which led to the Andrew Bogut's of the league. But those would probably be like the only 2 other people.
I hate to suggest this, but another guy who could make a case in the future would be Draymond Green. Like, just him as a player in today's league and how he's so himself, I guess. Like, obviously the tech, the flagrance and whatever, but a grittier, more defense. Not just also to say like his passing, how valuable it has been to the success of the Warriors dynasty. And there was that 1 or 2 year stretch where he was one of the Splash Brothers.
Yeah.
Then going past that to the media, like, I may hate his podcast, but it's popular for a reason. I guess it's like an unfiltered take on what goes behind the scenes and whatnot. That could be very valuable moving into the future.
I think he kind of, at least in my opinion, I think he kind of stems from Charles Barkley. You know, Charles Barkley was one of the pioneers of enforcers on a team. And I think Draymond kind of stems from that, but he also does, you know, pass, which again, one of the more, you know, people don't look at it as some special thing when it really is, but I think he definitely could go up on a Mount Rushmore eventually. We'll see once he leaves the Warriors, but because he will, I know he will, but just not right now.
Yeah, I like those. You guys had all mine that I considered. I considered Chris Webber, but like he's more of like an influential college guy. I think once he went into the NBA, he was just like a solid player. It didn't really change anything. Same with Giannis. I feel like Giannis is kind of like he's not more so influential. He's just unstoppable. Like that's really it. I don't think he's really changing the power forward position at all.
Well, I mean, in terms of, I guess like it would be positionless, you know, but basketball's positionless at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Now center. I think this one was probably. I just felt like the 4th guy was like the one I struggled with because I didn't know who should not get on here because I feel like a lot of centers belong on here.
I can do this one. This one's I won't say a layup because there's some strong cases for those guys, but I feel strongly that I have Shaq, Kareem, Bill Russell, and then Wilt.
Yeah.
Was that your 4, Angel?
No, I left off Wilt.
Okay, yeah, I did too.
I put Hakeem. Should I
Yeah.
make my case, or do you want to name your fourth, Eugene?
No, I mean we had the same 4. I put Hakeem as well.
Oh, okay.
It's just we haven't seen anything from Wilt. You know what I mean?
It's all like records, not really
Yeah.
like
Yeah. But I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
No, Wilt. I felt bad leaving Wilt off. But I also felt more bad to leave off Hakeem. Like that's literally what made my decision. It's like who makes me feel worse for leaving them off, and that was Hakeem. Now, if you showed this to someone over the age of 30, they would freak out because.
No, for real.
But I feel like nowadays people don't really have as much respect for Will as they used to. I think a big case of that is that people don't even believe the 100-point game anymore. Like,
right.
And you know what? It's not helping that they still haven't released the footage. Like, that's not helping the case at all, because here we have Babe Ruth batting practice showing up on my Twitter.
we got Olympic records from 1930. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but I still have not seen at least footage of 100 points. All I've seen is that piece of paper.
I think it's because it literally just doesn't exist. This wasn't a televised game. So
yeah, that's
unless
what I think
someone had that big camera and was just a really big fan of basketball and snuck that in, yeah, there's no way we're seeing that. I'm not mad at Hakeem. He would have been my choice had it not been Wilt.
Yeah.
But the man was just such a personality after his retirement. Like the crazy ass stories he would tell. Like, okay, that's the shit we need evidence of, I think. Like, whether it be
the amount of women he slept with.
I didn't want to say that, but like the man was capping so hard.
Bro,
he said in the hundreds of thousands. That can't be possible, bro.
I think someone did the math, and he was like, he would have to be having sex like 5 minutes, like every 5 minutes, for what he said to be true, bro. And all had to be different women.
Right.
But like considering like him as an athlete as well, like
bro.
His vertical alone was just like historic, especially at the time. Like no one else was really doing that. Obviously, people in the NBA at the time had more success. I would say like he could score 50 and whatever, but he'd be losing.
Yeah. Will, as an athlete in general, yeah, bro, that man. Will is one of those few players where if you picked him up from that back then and put him in now, he would still be a starter. Like, because he was just so athletic and just like a freak of nature. I replaced him with Hakeem because I think Hakeem was like, bro, he was in the era where like every center was like 7 foot, just stood there and like jumped. Hakeem, bro, he was like just like a master at like just post work technique, bro. That man could do anything in the post, and he was just able like the shake and bake, bro. Like, come on.
The dream shake, yep. The dream
like,
shake.
He was just like a glimpse of what centers would be now. Like, don't get me wrong, like what he was doing then now looks basic, but like that was just like it was almost like Reggie Miller, I would say, as like it was just a glimpse of what would have been now.
Yeah. He walked so everyone else could run.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna mention. You know, he was one of the more creative centers, you know, at that time, coming up with the dream shake. And, you know, just his footwork in general outside of the dream shake was, you know, impeccable. But even when you think about it, though, for one of the more iconic moves, not many people use it now. You know, like you might see it occasionally, but amongst big men, you don't really see them hit the dream shake. And same with Kareem. You'll see the sky hook occasionally, but like it's really not there anymore. But so it's kind of funny. So I was reading this book for one of my classes. It's John Wooden's book, Wooden on Leadership. And Wooden talks about his recruitment with Kareem and Bill Walton. And one of the stories he told, actually, apparently dunks were like outlawed in college at one point. So he was telling Kareem like not to be discouraged, just find another way to score. And that's how the skyhook came about. So it was like college basketball limited him from scoring per se, but he worked his game around the rule change, and it ended up becoming one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic move in basketball as we know it. You know what I mean? So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty interesting. And that's why I think that's why I put Kareem up there, as well as, he was all-time leading scorer for 50 whatever years. You know what I mean? So
he was also one of the few people like that you could argue is just a go of college basketball and NBA.
Yeah.
Like that man, like before Michael and LeBron, he was considered the greatest basketball player of all time.
Right.
Because he had success on all levels, and not just like back then it wasn't like one and done. He won the natty like multiple times. And so like it's just like, yeah, Kareem is just someone you have to put up there, and also just like a case of like, yeah, this NBA is just an unstoppable force. Bill Russell, I put him up there not only for the amount of rings he has, but also he was just like a guy whose influence just like reached all aspects of just like
life.
Everything.
Yeah, literally life.
Like he was a big civil rights leader. He like ran like the player association. The trophy is named after him. Like when you think leaders and just influential people, like Bill Russell for a lot of people come to mind just in general, because like he was just like influential on and off the court, more for just his personality, but because he fought for change in general.
Bro literally walked with Martin Luther King, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
And died like 2 years ago. Like, bro lived for so long.
Yeah, like, just consider what his life was like. Beat up floors on the basketball floor. He's hooping in Converse while being crazy athletic. If he blows out his leg, it's over. He might even lose the leg. This is peak civil rights. His own fans probably don't even like him.
Yeah,
they're probably saying slurs.
Bro played in Boston.
Bro. Think about Boston now. Think about Boston and segregation. Oh my gosh. It was war zone, bro.
Yeah. And the fact he walked away with 11 rings after all that is crazy. This is like, I don't know if they ever will change the logo, but I'm pretty sure he's at the top of the list of someone who they would change it to. Mm-hmm. For good reason. He's one of the most respected people to come out of basketball and be outside basketball.
Yeah. I mean, isn't he the only player who has like a number retired league wide?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they Jackie Robinson him.
Yeah. Only player. Well, no, league wide in basketball, I meant. Jackie Robinson is league wide in baseball too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Only player to have his jersey retired league wide.
That was in the past few years, correct?
Yeah, I think that was like pretty recently.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Like, this man is just like a historical figure He's literally
Mm.
bigger than basketball. Like,
Yeah,
it's insane.
yeah.
It's insane. And then Shaq,
What's understood doesn't need to be said.
bro. This is literally
On and off the court.
the complete opposite of a Bill Russell, where his leadership off the court is why he's bigger than basketball. Shaq literally just being Shaq is the reason why he's bigger than basketball. This man is just a celebrity. He's not even like a basketball player. He's just a straight up celebrity.
Right.
Releasing mixtape, diss tracks, has a video game.
Yeah, has a video game. He's literally sponsored by everyone. He got the general. He got Icy Hot. You know what I mean? Like, he's got a master's degree. Bro was, I don't know if he like can be a cop, but I know he went to like sheriff school or whatever. Bro's a DJ DJing at the biggest EDM events in the world. Like, bro doing everything, bro.
No, fact.
Yeah. It'd be easier to list the things he can't do, which
Right.
probably is not a lot.
Yeah. But not only that, but like Shaq was just like, bro, Shaq on the Magic was like a freak of nature, bro. That man was like doing full court sprints with ease. Like,
Yeah.
just full on
And-
like an athletic monster.
And tearing
Yeah.
down the rims, like
Yeah.
no one else
Times.
is doing it.
They literally
Then
had to change the rim, like, and how they made the glass because of that.
Doesn't he have a role named after himself?
He might.
Because
I'm not. Oh
was
yeah. Oh my gosh, bro.
you
He's
can't
gonna kill
purposely
me.
miss a free throw to grab a rebound. Isn't that him?
Yes, but also the intentional foul rule. What is it called? What is it called? It's not shacking.
Yeah.
Hack-a-shack.
Oh yeah.
Hack-a-shack. That's not the technical rule, but like that's the
term.
the player term.
Yeah, the defensive 3-second rule as well. He had 5 rules. The backboards, the 3-second rule, which you just mentioned, and then the free throw rule. So 3. I don't know why I said 5. But
As
yeah,
in taking too much time at the free throw line.
no, you couldn't like bounce it off the backboard to rebound and like dunk it
Oh,
because
and
that's
score.
that's what he did.
Yeah, it has to touch the rim.
It has to touch the rim. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Talk about changing the game, bro. Those are like 3 of the most important rules of the game now. Like, if you really think about it.
No, I can't imagine basketball without the 3-second rule, bro. Like, I literally can't imagine that.
That's insane.
Yeah, so arguably that's like, yeah, all really good picks. Besides Will and Hakeem, like who else would you have interchanged? I feel like honestly, I couldn't think of anyone else. I literally couldn't think of anyone else because I was like, it's got to be either Will, Hakeem, Russell, Shaq, or Abdul.
Right.
I literally couldn't think of anyone else.
Like you think about other centers, they were just really good big men, like a Patrick Ewing or David Robinson, but they didn't like change the game in which these 4 figureheads did, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no universe you can pick Robert Parrish over Shaquille O'Neal. No disrespect to Robert Parrish, but they're just not the same level.
No, for sure. I mean, there's no universe like you mentioned, like Ewing and Robinson. I can't, bro. No way is Patrick Ewing making my Mount Rushmore, bro.
Right. Great center, but not Mount Rushmore worthy.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Anything else you guys want to add? Comments? Questions?
I think that's it. I don't know.
All right. Well,
I think I don't even know if we could do this, but if there were a six man off the bench, Mount Rushmore, who could you even put on there besides Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford,
Ginobili or
Ginobili?
Yeah, Ginobili.
Pro-
You could
probably
low key even put him up there for shooting guard in my book. I'm not even gonna lie.
no, you could for sure. I think the fourth person honestly would just be like
Maybe a Lamar Odom.
Maybe Jordan Clarkson for a little bit. He was like constantly
Yeah.
6-man.
Yeah, he was popping when he was 6-man.
But yeah, 6-man is hard, bro. 6-man is hard because who would be the fourth person? Because I started thinking, I'm like, bro.
I would just put Lamar Odom because of the rings.
Yeah, true. Nowadays, I don't think though those three. I don't think we'll ever see a 6-man like those three ever again.
Nah, definitely not. Jamal, especially like Jamal and Lou, they were just like they did better off the bench than they did starting most times.
Yeah, because they just had like free reign over the offense.
Right.
And like you just had to hope your defender, whether he was a starter or a guy coming off the bench to defend Lou, you just had to hope he missed.
All right. That's probably what we're gonna call it. Next week's episode, we have a lot of topics lined up, so we don't really know what next week's episode is gonna be, but all of these topics are must-sees, so make sure you tune in for that. We're on all podcast platforms for audio format, so make sure you give us a good old 5 stars. Leave a review. Let us know who's on your Mount Rushmores. We're on YouTube for that good old video format, so make sure you like and subscribe there. And all social media platforms at Spin the Rock for clips and episode updates. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you again next week.